Good morning. Good morning. It is so great to see so many people out on Saturday morning. I tell you, there are an awful lot of things that people love to do on Saturday mornings. One of them is to sleep in late. I like working in my yard early in the morning, but I'll get in there later in the evening, when it's cool. I want to, on behalf of our pastor, the Reverend Charles A. Lewis Sr., and our First Lady, his wife, also Reverend G. Diane Lewis, who also pastors in the city of Macon. It is my honor to welcome each of you here to historic Stewart Chapel AME Church. This is truly a historic place. You sit in pews where folks sat years ago and listened to Mary McLeod Bethune speak about education. You're sitting in pews where the late Dr. Benjamin E. Mays spoke to parishioners here. You are sitting in pews where people witnessed the last appearance of Dr. Martin Luther King here in the city of Macon prior to his death. You are truly sitting in the seat of history, and we are so proud to welcome you here. It's my honor to serve as an usher, and if you came back on a Sunday morning, you would see me at the door greeting you and thanking you for attending our church service. So, I hope that you have been made to feel welcome to historic Stewart Chapel. If there's anything that we can do to make your stay here in Macon today more comfortable, as long as it's legal, let us know, and we will be happy to do all that we can. On behalf of my family, my church family, Representative Lucas, my husband of 34 years, I like to say that the ladies understand why I say that every chance that I get. Don't you, ladies? Amen. You understand? So, it's my pleasure to welcome you here. We are at your service today as you visit us here in Macon. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Why did all of this take place? That's a valid question. Why did all of this take place? Well, it was because the G.B.R. arrested 10 outstanding citizens in Quitman in Brooks County, Georgia for alleged voter fraud. And so many of us traveled up to Macon to Stewart Chapel AME Church in order to show support as well as to strategize in what approach to take to help these outstanding citizens, Black African Americans who we felt had done nothing wrong. And we didn't want to leave them by themselves. And so we traveled up to Macon. The next man you see is, of course, the late Senator Brown. Senator Brown first came to Quitman along with Tyrone Brooks and others because they felt the burning sensation to assist their fellow human beings. Miss Lucas gave the welcome after we arrived, and now let's listen to the late Senator Robert Brown.
We're going to change the order just a little bit. Sister Helen Butler is going to do a mini workshop on redistricting, but she's not arrived yet, and so we're going to go into some other aspects of the program. Councilwoman Lucas will also do a mini workshop on voter registration and voter participation, and I know most people here are already involved in that, but it's never, we can't do too much of it in terms of putting the emphasis on getting our people mobilized in the electoral process. I want to just take a few minutes and talk a little bit about how we got to have this rally, this meeting and this rally here in Macon.
He is about to fill you in on how they got to this point. A point wherein people came and their concerns grew about the Quitman 10 being arrested in a South Georgia town for alleged voter fraud. He wants you to know, and so do I. Senator Robert Brown knows that there's something wrong with the news media, and so let's listen to his words and see if his words is in alignment with what the people here in Valdosta, Lowndes County, and South Georgia have experienced. Listen again to the late Senator Robert Brown.
I found out through the grapevine, not through the corporate media, but through the grapevine, about the Quitman 10. I really didn't know a lot about it, so I had a person on my staff, Danny Foster, to call into Brooks County and around the surrounding counties to try to identify who are these people known as the Quitman 10. What's going on with them? Because I think all of you will agree that we might not have much in the corporate media, if anything, about this, except in the local media. And when I found out exactly what was going on out there, and I talked to Representative Lucas, and Representative Lucas sent the alarm out and called Representative Brooks and others and said, this is something that we don't need to just let go. We let so many things go. And so this is something we decided among ourselves that we were not going to let this go. And so, meanwhile, in October, not knowing about the Quitman 10, but in October of 2010, we had pulled together a group of people here in Macon from around primarily Middle and South Georgia to look at the election that was coming up, because we were dissatisfied, quite frankly, with what was happening. We didn't like the idea that many of the Democrats seemed to be running away from our Democratic base rather than running to it. There were people who would go to the other end of the state when President Obama came to the state, yet they were looking for the votes that President Obama got. And so you're going to run from him, but you want the votes that he was able to garner. And so we were, quite frankly, dissatisfied with that. And we decided that we were going to hold a meeting here in Macon. And we were going to still stay with the party, but we wanted to communicate to the party that we were our dissatisfaction. And at the same time, we realized that we can't keep ourselves within the constraint of the party. So this meeting was called together by what was then referred to as the Cotton Patch Citizens. And so we formed a loose-knit group, the October 16th movement. And because we just simply took that from the date that we held the meeting on. It was held at the church that I'm a member of, Greater Zion Hill Baptist Church here in Macon. And following that, as we got more information about the Quitman 10, we decided that this really represents opportunity. Because what these people have done is develop a process of methodology for dealing with voter registration, voter participation in rural Georgia. We've been able to develop models in the urban area for turning out to vote. And we've been fairly effective at it. Not as effective as we should be, because quite frankly, we have not had the resources invested that should have been invested toward that effort. But we've not had near as much success in rural Georgia. But when I looked at the model that was developed by the Quitman 10, I immediately recognized that this is something that we need to, number one, make sure that they have legal support, public support, moral support, every kind of support that we can give them, political support, every support that we can give them. we should make sure that the Quitman 10 has it. So in February of this year, we held the first annual Rural Black Family Day at the state capitol. And on that day, we honored the Quitman 10 as well as Sister Shirley Sherrod for that courage, for that willingness to stand up for what is right. But we don't want to stop there. This past Saturday, a team of us visited Quitman, Georgia, to get a first-hand look, to get a feel for what's going on in Brooks County. And we got a good sense of what's going on. I mean, there was some very poignant moments there, John. There was an elderly gentleman there, and I thought this was the equivalent to the Rosa Parks saying that she was just tired of it. This gentleman said that he didn't vote for Obama. He wasn't registered to vote for Obama. But he voted for them girls. See? You understand what I'm saying? He said, I didn't know Obama, but I know them girls. And so that's part of what that connectivity I'm telling you about. You've got to have folks at the local level that people can identify with. That's how you pull them in. You got to run local candidates. That's why we in Macon fight so hard to keep partisan elections. We are derided by some for being the only city in Georgia that still has partisan elections at the local level.
That's right. That's right.
All we say is we're all the ones doing it right.
That's right. That's right.
Y'all doing it wrong. Yeah, because what I say about partisan elections is that we have two major systems in this country. An economic system that's called capitalism. You know, a political system that's called democracy with a small d. You don't have corporate capitalism at the national level and the state level, and then come down to the local level and say you're going to have socialism. You have capitalism from the top to the bottom. So if you're going to have partisan elections at the national level and the state level, why are you going to have nonpartisan when you get to the local level?
Right. That's right.
Well, they'll tell you, well, it costs too much. Well, let me tell you what I think about the cost. If you can spend trillions of dollars, I didn't say millions, I didn't say billions, I said trillions, to go to Afghanistan, Iraq, and bring democracy to them, a few $100s for democracy in America ought not to be much, right?
Did he break it down pretty well? I think so. Well, this is very interesting, but this is only the beginning. When you go back and you look at what actually took place over in Brooks County,